Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to bring the meeting to order. So my name is Councillor Louise Bown. I represent Radipole Ward in Weymouth, and I've got...
My name is Councillor Emma Parker. I represent Puddletown and Lower Winterbourne.
And I'm Councillor Craig Monks, representing Bedminster Ward.
Thank you. So the first thing we need to do in this meeting is elect a chair. Do I have any nominations for chair?
Yes, I'm happy to propose we elect you as chair.
Thank you.
Happy to second.
Thank you. So show of hands. Lovely. So that's done. Thank you very much, everybody. Right. So good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. Today we will be considering an application for Bowcroft Beverages, 4 Stroud Close, Coal Hill, Dorset. The meeting is being live streamed and will be available to view on the council website after the meeting. By attending this meeting, you consent to being filmed. I would like to remind everyone that when you are speaking, please speak directly into the microphone so that you can be clearly seen and heard. Now, the licensing subcommittee is not a public meeting, but it's a meeting which the public may attend. So, people in the gallery, I'm sure you wouldn't make an undue disturbance, but yeah, so it's a meeting to which the public are invited to attend. So let's have a look. So we've done that. So councillors, please, council staff, please will you introduce yourselves?
John Miles, Democratic Services Officer. I'll be taking the minutes for this meeting.
Phil Crowther, I'm the subcommittee's legal advisor.
Lewis Wicks, Democratic Service Officer.
Lovely, thank you, gentlemen. I'm so sorry.
I'm Catherine Miller, Senior Licensing Officer and Report Author.
Gail Redmond, Licensing Officer.
Thank you, ladies, as well. Sorry. And John Miles, I believe we have some apologies.
We have received one apology from Councillor Claudia Webb.
Thank you very much. The next thing I need to do is ask the panel if we have any interests, any declarations of interest in this case.
No.
No, me neither. So none of us have any interests. Okay. So first of all, I am going to ask, hang on, what am I doing now? So the licensing officer will be asked to outline. So yes, going to the officers first. So please, can you outline the case?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes. Yes, so as you say, we're here to consider a new premises licence application for Bowcroft Beverages, 4 Stroud Close in Coal Hill. The application is for alcohol sales for consumption off the premises, Monday to Friday from 0800 to 1800 hours and Saturday 0830 to 12:30 hours. Dorset Police have requested a number of conditions to be added to the licence if it were to be granted, and the applicant has agreed to this. These conditions can be found at Appendix 2. There were no other representations received from any of the other responsive authorities, including Dorset and Wiltshire Fire Rescue Service. There were 4 relevant representations received from members of the public. The representations were made on the licensing objectives of the prevention of public nuisance, prevention of crime and disorder, and public safety. An email was sent by licensing to all interested parties on behalf of the applicant addressing the issues raised, and the email can be found at Appendix 3. Following this email, one of the interested parties withdrew their representation. One of the original parties did not respond, and 2 said that their concerns had not been alleviated. The 3 remaining representations can be found at Appendix 4. Some of the representations raised concerns over an increase in traffic in the road. This concern cannot relate to any of the 4 licensed objectives and therefore is not a relevant consideration. I'd also like to remind everybody that comments made to the making of alcohol can also not be taken into account, as we are here to license the selling of it and not the manufacturing of it. There have been 3 supplemental pieces of information received. Supplement 1 is from one of the interested parties, and please note that there is reference to photos attached in relation to the applicant's former residence. These have not been included to protect the current occupier's privacy. Supplement 2 is also from one of the interested parties, and Supplement 3 is from the applicant. This additional information has been sent to the 3 members and the applicant and also all the interested parties. The options that are available to the subcommittee after they have considered all the information contained in the report, the written representations and anything that's said at this hearing is to either grant the licence subject to such conditions as the authority considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and the mandatory conditions, to exclude from the scope of the licence any of the licensable activities to which the application relates, to refuse to specify a person on the licence as a designated premises supervisor, or to reject the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask committee members now, does anybody have any questions for the officer about the report?
No.
Okay. Now, people making representations, I'm going to ask you, you get a chance to have your say later on about, to outline your representations. Have you got any questions for the officer about the report at this stage? Any items you want to clarify? Yeah, go ahead, ask a question.
My name is Anne Harris. I'd like to ask the officer a question. She said this did not concern manufacture, but in the one of the papers that was included in the pack sent out to us, it did include manufacture. It included distillation. Oh,
No, under the Licensing Act 2003, it's the selling of the alcohol, not the manufacturing of it. We don't license the manufacturing of alcohol. It is purely just the selling of it.
Are you happy with that response?
I'm surprised at it, but if can I ask a supplementary? So if someone wants to manufacture the gin, do they not have to apply to the licensing officers?
No, because as I said, it's the selling of the alcohol, not the manufacturing. There are processes the applicant would have to go to, but that is with a different, I think that's HMRC.
Satisfied? Lovely. Thank you. Has anybody else over there got a question?
I would like to ask then, what committee do we appeal to if this committee isn't involved with HMRC activity? We're particularly concerned about the manufacture of this sort of beverage, which does bring fire risk into this whole equation. So if this isn't being dealt with this committee, who do we then appeal to, please? Thank you.
You just have to bear with me while I look this up.
Long story short, it's basically not a Dorset Council matter is the answer, isn't it?
Yes, spot on. It's not. It's nothing to do with us at all.
Then why aren't we hearing from the relevant committee on this aspect?
So we're Dorset Council, and we've had an application, and I'm going to go to the applicant in a minute. We've had an application from a gentleman who would like to sell his product from his garage, and we are considering his application. So we license all sorts of things. We license taxis. We also license the sale of alcohol, and that's the purpose of this committee. I mean, if you're concerned about the manufacture of alcohol, I mean, I guess that would be, health and safety, it's not a Dorset Council matter to the best of my knowledge.
So if you grant this license, are you really quite happy that you are then providing a hazardous environment for us to live next door to?
I'm going to hand you over to our legal representative.
Thanks, Chair. So I think it's just important to understand the remit of this committee. There are other organisations that license other aspects of the applicant's business. So I think from a quick look, it's HMRC that license the distillation of spirits. So if your concern is about the manufacturer, you should approach HMRC. This is not about whether or not the committee wishes to see a distillery activity being undertaken here or not. That's outside its remit. It's pure. The remit today is, should a license be granted for the sale of alcohol within the terms of the application under the Licensing Act, which controls the factors that the subcommittee can take into account. So it's not making a moral judgment about whether the distillery activity should take place. It's the selling of the alcohol once it's been manufactured that this committee can deal with.
Make the point that your committee is then licensing an activity that's hazardous, and also may go against HMRC guidelines, and just wondering if you're happy with that situation?
So, I mean, as the committee, we're sticking to our remit in the same way that if an ice rink came to us and wanted to have a bar open at the ice rink, we would license or not the sale of beverages from a bar. We wouldn't make any decision on the health and safety of ice skating. That's not our remit. Our remit is to license the sale of alcohol.
So this doesn't override any other licenses that the applicant might need. So simply because if he was granted his license today to sell alcohol, if he hadn't already got a license to distill the alcohol, he would still need to go and get that license from HMRC. So it's not, if he has got that license, fine, he would need this license to sell. If the committee decides that it won't grant the license, he wouldn't be able to sell that. He could still manufacture that license because he's got his HMRC consent. He couldn't sell it because he didn't have the license from here. Does that make? So he needs all the consents from all the consenting organisations to be in place. It's the decision today doesn't override any other consents that he might need. Thank you, Chair.
I'm going to ask the gentleman on the end.
So my concern is then, so you're happy to grant the license, assuming that you do, to sell the product that he may or may not manufacture illegally, i.e. you haven't seen that he's got the license from HMRC to manufacture the stuff that he's selling?
I tell you what. Go ahead.
No, we don't need to see that. The applicant, that's down to the applicant. That's not anything. It's not part of the licensing objectives. It doesn't fall under those remits, and it is down to the applicant to have the relevant. It's the same with anything like planning. It'll be down to the applicant to have the relevant planning in place. We don't exercise that either.
I feel that we're getting bogged down with the same question over and over again. So in a minute, I'm going to go to the applicant and ask if they've got any. At the moment, we're on the bit where we're asking factual questions of the report writer, who's the officer. You will get a chance to speak about your objections later. I'm going to take one more question from you as a group. This is your last one, and then we're going to go to the applicant, then we're going to carry on with the agenda. You will get a chance to outline your objections later, but I hope you're clear on the remit of this committee.
Yeah, well, we're very clear now, I think. Thank you. The paperwork wasn't very clear to us. We didn't grasp that that wasn't part of it. And what I would like to say is that we don't want the sale of alcohol there. So we are very interested in conforming with this committee and helping you to make your decision. Thank you.
Fantastic. We'll come back to you, and you'll be able to outline. You'll be able to make representations at the appropriate time. Thank you. I am now going to go to the applicant. I apologise. I should have gone to you first, but would you like to ask the officer any questions about their report?
No, I've got no questions to ask.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Right, now I'm going to go to you again, the applicant. I'm going to ask you, would you like to outline your case?
Yeah, I've got a little brief statement to say, which I hope that the committee find in favour of issuing me the licence today. The statements that I've already submitted cover everything that I wish to say. I'm happy to answer anyone's questions regarding it. I feel that any concerns that the committee might have and the concerns of my neighbours can be dealt with mitigated by way of conditions applied to the licence. And to my neighbours, I would like to say sorry for any angst that I've caused them. It has not been my intention. If I am issued with the licence, time will prove to them that it was unwarranted.
Oh, thank you very much. So is it questions now from the So have we got any questions for the applicant? No, I mean, having read all of the papers, including the representations from your neighbours, and nobody from the panel has got any questions. I'm going to go now to the people making representations. Now is your chance. I'm really keen that we stay focused on the matter of the meeting. So we're here today to talk about the licensing of sale of alcohol. So would you like to outline your case? Oh, so do you have any questions of? So before you make your representation, do you have any questions for the applicant in terms of? Questions. Go ahead.
Not used to playing this game. Well, I have a question about the licensing hours. Is that relevant now, or should that come later?
If it's a question of fact about the application, then yes, go ahead now.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll try again. Yeah. The licensing hours requested are 8 to 6 every day and 8:30 to 12:30 on a Saturday. This is a very long period of time. Why is that length of time necessary? I understand no people will come to the house. It's just about delivery.
Thank you for your question. I'm going to go to the applicant.
It was just I had to put something on the form. To be honest, as I've stated in my statements, we deliver our gin to the post office for postal orders and to any local retailers that want it.
Go ahead.
Why is such a long period necessary?
As I've just stated, it was what you had to place on the form when I applied for the license. At the time is irrelevant because we do not sell from the premises.
Can I ask you, does that mean, so in real life, you put something down on the form and they're going to be probably roughly the business hours you'll be working? Is that
yes, to be honest, yeah, we don't work Saturdays. It's, you know, it was just something I put on the form, 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night are the hours that we may choose to deliver gin.
Lovely. Thank you. Been very clear. Have you got any more questions? Go ahead.
Can I just say then, if you don't allow customers to visit your premises, why is your address clearly on the website?
Go ahead.
I don't believe it is.
So the people making representations have said that it is. Is that okay? Okay. Okay. Have you got any? Would you like to respond? No, it doesn't sound like he does. Have you got any more questions?
I'll run it past you and you can tell me if it's a question I can ask right now. There was something on the license application which says that he has the capacity of 0 to 4999. What does that figure refer to?
Would you like me to answer that?
I would love that.
Every license has there's a fee level, and it's set on the rateable value and also the number of people. So if an event, so when you're talking about big festivals, you're looking at maybe 5,000 people. So the fee will go up. So any normal premises, pubs, whatever, fall within, so they always up to 4,999 people, even though they may only have a capacity of 150. It's to do with the fee level.
To this application.
No, because he's not having that amount of people on there. That, like I said, it's to do, yeah.
Lovely. Have you got any other questions?
I have one more question. Mr. Trimmer describes the garage basement as having concrete on all four sides with a metal locked door. So I want to ask the question, what's the floor and ceiling made of? This is for storing the alcohol.
Concrete. It's made of concrete.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Growing business, Mr. Trimmer is looking for more stockists on his website. I think he has about 7 stockists in Wimborne already. What guarantee can he give that this business will not grow and actually turn into some sort of public nuisance, which relates to this committee's remit?
That concern could be dealt with by way of condition. If I was reported for there being a nuisance, then the licence could be withdrawn.
Any other questions? Okay. So the applicant has said we've heard from the officer and we've had questions, and we've heard from the applicant and we've had questions. Now it's your turn to bring up your representations. So so this is your chance. Yeah, this is your chance to have your say.
We can do, but a lot of our representations were related to things which apparently now do not seem to be under the jurisdiction of this meeting. You've mentioned that you sent notice to the fire brigade. We didn't realise that was the case. Our main concern, particularly being right next door, is the amount of alcohol being stored. What fire prevention measures has the applicant put in place to ensure that, particularly whilst he's distilling and bottling, that the fumes don't ignite and cause an explosion and subsequent fire within a property which is within 12 metres of our bedroom, basically. But I don't quite know there, if it's not covered at this meeting, where we take our concerns there. If the fire brigade haven't responded to in any way, where do we go? So that is the significant concern for, not just for us, but for the immediate neighbour, the other side, and indeed opposite.
Go ahead, Catherine.
So the Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service are a responsible authority. They came back with no comment, but they always say they have the applicant will need to do a fire risk assessment. So that's what they'll need to do. The applicant is aware of this, and that is for the fire service to deal with because it falls under the regulatory reform order that they deal with. So they have more powers than we do. So they can then check on the property and they can do a visit.
Surely then you need that permission and documentation first before you allow your licence?
No, we don't. Like I say, that is down to the fire brigade. It's their legislation. Let's say it falls under regulatory reform order, and it's them that they will enforce it. They will look for it, not us.
So in fact, if you give the licence, then Mr. Trimmer can create a fire hazard before the fire safety certificate is given. Are you quite happy with that?
It's not a fire safety certificate. He has to do a fire risk assessment, which, as I just said, it's for the police, for the fire and rescue service to enforce and inspect. I'm not a fire officer, so I don't know what needs to be in it.
Are giving him permission to go ahead with this operation before the fire risk assessment has been completed? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because like I say, it's down to the fire to enforce that. We have to go that the applicant has put that or has got that in place.
So in the meantime, so you grant the licence today, and his processes start tomorrow. There's a subsequent fire. Our house hedge catches fire. We're injured. There's no comeback at this to anybody apart from the committee has granted the licence without fully understanding the risk that they may be causing to the neighbours before the fire brigade have done any risk assessment at all.
Fire brigade are a very stretched service, and they do have fire safety officers that will go out and do visits. Again, it's not down to me. I'm not a fire officer, and I would not go out and look at a fire risk assessment and say it's okay or not okay, or say it's okay when it's not. They know what they're looking for, and they're the experts. They do get out and see people, I know that, but they've got a long list of, you imagine we've got quite a lot of properties in Dorset and Wiltshire to deal with. So we allow it. It's quite a common practice that we'll get the letter, it goes to the applicant, they know they've got to do a fire risk assessment. If they don't, then the onus is down to them. They won't be insured, and then there'll be issues down the line that way.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Monks.
Thank you, Chair. Just maybe as a suggestion, just to aid at this part of the meeting, I can see one of our speakers has a piece of paper in front of them. Have you prepared some words that you originally wanted to share with us? Hold that for 1 second. 1 second. And have you as well? Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off. I don't mean to sound like I'm being rude, but there's a method to my madness. Perhaps it may aid if the chairs, I'm happy to accommodate that, rather than run the risk of you feeling like you've not had an opportunity to share your concerns to the application. I might suggest that the representations you have prepared, you deliver. There will be some parts of those representations that may not be applicable to the Licensing Act, but I want you to put them on the record anyway. And obviously, as a committee, we'll consider, we'll take out the bits that are relevant to us, but it just means that you've had the opportunity to voice all your concerns, whether it's fire risk, so on and so forth. Otherwise, I fear that we might keep getting a circle of questions around what you might be able to talk about, might not be able to talk about, and you might leave thinking, well, we've not had a fair hearing. Whereas if you put it all on the record, then we would hear what your concerns are and work within this licensing committee to come to a conclusion. Does that sound fair, hopefully? Chair, and I'm sort of speaking through the chair, but ultimately it's the chair's decision. But I figure it might be a way of just being able to put on the record your points that you've obviously prepared. But I'll let you say, Chair.
No, of course. Of course. Why not? Let's do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, some of this is not relevant now. We know we're not dealing with what we're dealing with, but this is what I wrote as a roundup for the end. So this is not the long document I wrote, because I believe you've already seen that. Yeah. Okay. So our concern about the gin in the garage of number 4 hasn't really been allayed by the responses that we've had to date from the emails that we've had from the applicant. Our concerns over safety remain. It remains our view that it is an inappropriate premises in which to sell gin, I said manufacture or sell here, due to the proximity of neighbours and the risks associated. However, if we were forced to consider, we would need to ask for more information, since this process is supposed to be evidence-based. And at the moment, we have no coherent evidence of how the applicant has prepared the garage to protect the safety of himself or others. For example, has he put in explosion-proof electrical equipment, such as light switches? In a note headed "I forgot," the applicant mentions automatic and manual fire extinguishers. This doesn't give us confidence that this came as an afterthought. There's no mention of mitigating measures to prevent alcohol vapor ignition or explosion. There's no invoices, no photographs, and no details of what adaptations he has made to the garage. Nowhere has the applicant provided evidence that the premises are suitable for distilling, processing, and storing of alcoholic spirits. So if it's just storing, it's just storing. No evidence of fire safety inspections, we've covered that. No evidence of risk assessments that recognise the proximity of other properties. The nearest property is a few feet away. no mention of any disposal that would be concerned with the business. No response to explain, well, he has explained now about the licensing hours. And in fact, there's no hard evidence that the applicant has really even considered our concerns. So we feel quite frustrated by this, that this is a divided decision, because for us, it's so close to us all. You've looked at the photographs, I guess, and you've seen how close the houses are together, and ours is the garden that you see in that photograph. We're literally just across a narrow road. And it just seems so inappropriate that a quiet close is going to have the selling of alcohol from the close with the name and address, the address of the close on the site, and people coming to collect gin and people knowing that the gin is stored there could bring difficulties to us in terms of people coming and ad hoc crime taking place. So we are really concerned. It's a very small, quiet close. We're mostly retired people who love where we live, and we're feeling really upset about this. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very heartfelt. Thank you. Has anybody else got a representation?
I think is in the pack which you've hopefully have read. But I just like to reiterate what Anna said, really, that he didn't seem to even realise that his address was on his website, which is going to attract people to come to the close. I don't know how he proposed to stop people coming to his front door and to collect an order or to place an order. As Anne also said, it's likely to attract people to the close with an intention of maybe, you know, looking to see what else is available within the close and bring in which has been up to now the 10 years that we've lived in the close absolutely crime free. And that's a significant risk, along with the issues of the fire that we've talked about, which will appear not to be relevant here. What we seem to get from the applicant is lip service in terms of when we ask for evidence of fire prevention, etc. He, as an afterthought on his second statement, says, oh, I forgot to mention, as Anne did, I've installed fire extinguishers and an automated system. What we really would like to see, I guess, whether it's within the scope of this or not, is actual evidence that he's done it, i.e. an invoice from the company that's put it in, or something, or indeed something to see that he's actually licensed and trained to do what he says he's going to do. And that, at the end of the day, is our main concern, be it covered here or not. That is really where we're coming from. And I don't think that you ought to just go ahead and grant the license on the basis that that's all that you can do. I think you need to perhaps think a little bit more about what you could do, be it defer your judgment from today and give us a chance to look at the evidence that he's got, what he says he's got, that he's got the fire measures in place. The fire brigade have had a chance to do a fire risk assessment, really just to allay our fears that grant the license today, tomorrow he may blow the roof off his garage. That kind of is where we're coming from, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the applicant now. Would you like to respond to any of those points from the people making representations?
Just that they're unwarranted. The petroleum that I store in my car and my motorcycle in the garage are much more higher fire risk than the distillation of the gin that I make. As we've discussed, this license is purely for me to sell it. I do not need a license to manufacture it. I do have licenses with HMRC to do it all legally, but ultimately, if I do not obtain this license today, I will still carry on my hobby making gin. So,
thank you very much. Would you like? You look like you want to come back.
I do want to come back. Has Mr. Trimmer just inferred that he is distilling the gin in his garage?
It sounds like he clearly said that he is, and he said he's got a license from HMRC already, didn't he? I think, is that right, Mr. Trimmer?
Sorry, I've got a compounder's licence and a rectifier's licence from HMRC.
And does that apply to 4 Stroud Close?
Yes, it applies to Bowcroft Beverages and 4 Stroud Close.
Oh, I'm pretty amazed that that was given to you without us knowing that was happening.
You do not have to, it's not something that the public needs to be made aware of. It's only the premises licence that was made aware.
Well, they certainly need to be made aware of it when it's a few feet from their house.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you've read out your representations. Thank you. Yeah, so bearing in mind, we've read all the documentation and you've made your case. This is your chance to sum up. I'm going to ask you obviously not to, yeah, as best you can. I mean, it's a big old broad thing, isn't it? And you've said lots. So at the risk of, rather than trotting out everything you've said again, if you can summarise your case, if you can put up one person among you to summarise your case. Or 2, go on, you can have 2 if you want, but this is your chance just to kind of, boil it down for us into a couple of sentences.
Well, I think probably the main sort of worry that we have is fire risk, and the other main worry is that we haven't had any documentation given to us. All we are left with is Mr. Trimmer's word, which we don't know him, we've never met him, he's never come round to say hello or explained what he was going to do. Therefore, we have to take his word that he has these licenses that he says he has. I'm really surprised that you as a committee are not party to fire risk assessment and that you are able to give a premises licence to something that you don't have that important documentation for. And also I would have thought that you would have needed to see Mr. Trimmer's licenses in order to make your decisions. And I'm very disappointed that you haven't seen that and that it's not part of your remit.
Thank you for your comments. Yeah, thank you for your comments. Would anybody else like to say anything from the panel?
I would just like to say that I would emphasise that this is a quiet close where people enjoy a quiet life. And the idea of selling gin from the close is inappropriate. Not as inappropriate as distilling it, but it is inappropriate. It's not an appropriate place to do it. That's all.
Okay, thank you for those comments. I'm going to now go back to the applicant, Mr. Trimmer. This is your chance to sum up your case. Again, bearing in mind that we've read your application, etc.
Yeah, no, I've got nothing further to say. My statements cover everything for the committee today.
Brilliant. Thank you for being so brief. I'm now going to go to Mr. Crowther. Do you think we have covered all the legal aspects of the case? So there's been some suggestion, hasn't there? There's been some suggestion that there's a bottle limit on the amount of gin stored in the garage. I mean, if we were to impose one of those conditions on top of the conditions from the police, how would you feel about that, Mr. Trimmer?
Absolutely fine.
Thank you. I mean, are you able to tell us how much have you normally got in stock? How much do you normally have in your garage?
It was on the statement that I submitted at the very beginning. The maximum is about 46 bottles, which works to about just over 30 litres. Just so you're aware, you're allowed to store 30 litres of petroleum legally. So I'm not doing anything other than legal.
Brilliant. Thank you. So thank you for that. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say, Ms. Crowther? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, hang on, go on. I do want you to fully feel that you've had your say, so go ahead, sir.
Well, it's just on his original response, he says he stores up to 46 maximum bottles. Yes. Is that clear?
That's what he currently stores. Yes, so we'll certainly bear that in mind. If we were to grant the license, we will certainly consider a bottle limit as part of that if we were to grant the license. Thank you. So it says 46 on documentation. The applicant has just said 46 bottles, which is the same as 30 litres, because obviously it's 70 centilitres, isn't it, in a bottle? Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Right.
Just for the people that made representation, obviously this is quite new to you to what you're doing. But just to say that if we were minded to grant the application, then if we grant it and things don't run as smoothly as per the conditions on the licence, if you were to make notes of everything that was going on that you believe was against the licensing objectives, then the licence can be called back into committee. And back into that committee, there can either be additional conditions put on the licence if there's certain conditions that they're not adhering to. You can also, there's room to take things off of the conditions, like change the hours if it was the hours that were a problem. And also, the licence can actually be revoked. So there is, I don't want you to think that, everything's a done deal, because it's not. There are mechanisms there to help. But I just thought if you weren't aware of that, it might be useful.
Sounds to me like it's a done deal and you are going to grant the licence, that's all.
Not at all. It's something that I advise people just so that if they've got concerns, I think it's important that people know that there are other ways around it when I'm not predetermined at all.
Can I just add? On the assumption that the licence may be granted, and you've asked the fire service to do a risk assessment, when will that be done? Will that be taken into account? Will we know that it's been done? Because again, that's one of our biggest fears is the fire risk, which seems to be not quite so concerning with the applicant, but it really is a big concern. And as the fire brigade haven't responded yet, when will they likely to do their assessment, and when will we know they've done it, and will there be any
will you have granted
the license when it's unsafe, basically, to sell the property from the okay.
So as I said, the fire service have responded, and they've said they've no comments. It's just they need the fire risk assessment. But we are talking about the selling of it, not the making of it. So that's what the risk assessment will be based on. If there's any more that has to be done to do the making of it, that will be down to whoever deals with that type of thing. But we are here, and they are basing it on the selling.
Okay, I feel like we've heard. I think everyone's had a chance to have their say. I think we're coming to the end of our meeting. So what happens now is we withdraw and we make our decision in private. We will we will let the applicant know within 5 working days our decision. And there is a right to appeal if we were to not grant the licence. The applicant has got a right to appeal within 21 days to the local magistrates court. Other than that, I think that's the main case of the business today dealt with. Just the formalities of the rest of the agenda. Number 5 is urgent items. There are no urgent items. Number 6 is exempt business, and there is no exempt business. So I'm going to call this meeting to a close. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you for attending online. Mr. Trimmer, thank you.